Alright guys, welcome back to the JFabe Wrestling. It's your boy JD. Sorry I had a little bit of a hiatus. I just got a new job and I've just been stressing about it, honestly. So it's good to talk some wrestling and, de-stress. And today I'm going to look at Survivor Series 2004. I'm going to try to rebook this show. And before I get into it, let me get into the card. So we got Spike Dudley defeating Billy Kidman, Chavo Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio to retain his Cruiserweight Championship. We got Shelton Benjamin defeating Christian to retain his Intercontinental Championship. Then we got Team Guerrero. We got Eddie Guerrero, The Big Show, John Cena, and RVD defeat Team Angle, Kurt Angle, Carlito, Luther Reigns, and Mark Jindrak. Then we got The Undertaker defeating Heidenreich. Then we got Trish Stratus defeating Lita by disqualification. And then we got JBL defeating Booker T to retain his WWE Championship. And in the main event, Team Orton versus Team Triple H. Randy Orton, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, and Maven defeat Triple H, Batista, Edge, and Gene Snitsky. And the winning team got to run Raw for the next 4 weeks, which was pretty cool. So, yeah, guys, this is the card. And it's okay. It was an okay card. Obviously, they kind of botched the Randy face turn. They kind of botched that. Undertaker didn't really have a good opponent. So, yeah, there's definitely things to change. So, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make this Survivor Series the Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series. Just because, 2004 is when they had the draft. And I don't know if you remember, in the main event, it was Eddie versus Triple H. They had a Raw versus SmackDown brawl. So, I feel like they should have took advantage and had, Raw versus SmackDown this year. And also, 2005, the draft really switched things up. I feel like 2004, the identities of the brand was still there. John Cena, he was still solidified as a SmackDown guy. Rey Mysterio was a SmackDown guy. Kurt Angle was a SmackDown guy. Eddie Guerrero was SmackDown, obviously Raw. Evolution was all Raw. There's a few changes, Benoit going to Raw, RVD and Booker T going to SmackDown. But for the most part, the identities, of the brand were still strong. And I feel like they did it a year later and we kind of had, weird teams in terms of, Randy was representing SmackDown. Big Show was on representing Raw. So, it's just stuff like that. I feel like, 2004 would have been the perfect year to do Raw versus SmackDown. So, let's get into it. All right, guys, let's get into the card. First match for the Cruiserweight Championship, Spike Dudley representing SmackDown versus the Hurricane representing Raw. So Spike Dudley at this time was a heel. He was doing great work as, the boss of the Dudley Boys. He was kind of bossing around Bubba and Devon. And obviously Raw doesn't have much Cruiserweights, I think the only other option here would have been Tajiri, but I have him doing something else later. So I have the Hurricane, again, we got good, a good heel, and then, underdog face, the Hurricane. And, you could have the Dudleys in Spike's corner and obviously Rosie in the Hurricane's corner. And I'd have Spike retain the title. It only makes sense. Obviously, you're not going to put the Cruiserweight title on Raw. So Spike retains, and, he's had a good run so far. All right, next up, we got the Women's Championship match. We got the heel representing Raw, Trish Stratus, versus the face representing SmackDown, Torrie Wilson. I think this would be a pretty interesting match because, Torrie Wilson was kind of known as the SmackDown girl. She had, all these iconic bikini contests, lingerie contests, as a young kid. Not young, but, a teenager. Some of my favorite memories is, Torrie Wilson on SmackDown. But, yeah. And then, obviously, Trish Stratus, she was playing a pretty great heel at the time. And I think it would be a perfect dynamic. Obviously, you're going to have Trish Stratus retain. And you could have, Trish Stratus beat on Torrie Wilson for a bit. And Lita come out and make the save. Kind of set up their iconic Raw match in December. All right, next up, we got the classic Survivor Series elimination match for the tag team division representing Raw. We got William Regal and Eugene, La Resistance, and Rhyno and Tajiri versus SmackDown's Dudley Boyz, Rene, Dupree, Kenzo, Suzuki, and Billy Kidman and Paul London. So obviously, Billy Kidman and Paul London, they broke up earlier than this. I would hold that off maybe till this pay-per-view. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication kind of cost them to get eliminated. And the last two teams that have Dudley Boyz, William Regal and Eugene, and I'd have actually William Regal and Eugene get the upset victory over the Dudley Boyz, kind of a feel-good moment. And now Raw is up 2-1. All right, next up we got the Battle of the Tag Team Champions. So from Raw, I'd actually have Edge and Christian be the World Tag Team Champions. As you guys know, Taboo Tuesday, Chris Benoit and Edge defeated La Resistance. So the next night on Raw, I have Chris Benoit and Edge defend against Christian and a mystery partner. And people are assuming it's going to be Tyson Tomko, but it's actually Edge. So Edge and Christian now become the new tag team champions. And at No Mercy, I believe Rey Mysterio and RVD did lose to Rene, Dupree, and Kenzo Suzuki. But in my rebooking, I'd have Rey and RVD retain. So we got a really good match here with four really good workers. You could have Edge talk about his history with Rey Mysterio teaming up with him and saying, Christian was a much better tag team partner. He was tired of, carrying Rey Mysterio. And, Christian and RVD also have history over the Intercontinental Championship. So, they could talk about their feud. And, yeah, I think it'll be a good match. And I'd actually have Edge and and Christian get the win by cheating. So now Raw is up. They could hold on to the ropes or the tights or something. So now Raw is up 3-1. All right, next match we got the Battle of the Mid-Card Champions from Raw. The Intercontinental Champion Shelton Benjamin, who defeated Chris Jericho, I believe, at Taboo Tuesday. And the U.S. Champion John Cena. And in real time, Carlito was the U.S. Champion, defeating John Cena. But in my timeline, I just have, Cena defeat Booker T in the best of 5, and he's still the U.S. champion. His feud with Carlito could probably happen a little bit later on. And, yeah, this is a good match. You got Battle of the two fast rising stars, They could even mention how, they were both in the OVW, developmental territory. They both, paid their dues. And now it's just, who's going to get to the top first. And you got to give the win to John Cena just because, WWE had more plans for him in the near future. And I think it'll be a really good match as well. And now SmackDown is down 3-2. All right, next up we got the Battle of the World Champions from Raw. The Legend Killer World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton versus from SmackDown WWE Champion The Undertaker. So at Unforgiven, I wouldn't have Orton lose to Triple H, and I also wouldn't have Evolution turning on Randy. There could be some dissension there. Maybe you could have a triple threat match: Orton, Benoit, Triple H at Unforgiven, and Orton kind of steals the victory, and Triple H is slowly getting mad, but they don't break up just yet. And then for SmackDown, I'd actually have Undertaker defeat JBL at No Mercy to become WWE Champion. And yeah, they also had this match at WrestleMania 21, which was a really, really good match. So I think they'll have another good match here. And in this feud and storyline between Randy and Triple H, you could kind of have Triple H say, you know what, Randy, you proved that Unforgiven, you're a big star. Why don't you face The Undertaker on your own? You got this. And Randy can kind of be like, wait, what do you mean? You're going to leave me out there against the dead man, The Undertaker? And Triple H is like, yeah, Evolution will not be on at ringside. It's all you, buddy. So Randy kind of has a lot to prove. And yeah, I think Randy puts a really, really good match, puts a good fight. But Undertaker just wins. At the end of the match, you could have Randy, Taker put his hand out and Randy actually shake it. Kind of similar to what he did with Chris Benoit. So it's slowly building towards Randy, realizing that he doesn't need Triple H and that, he's getting respect from, a legend like The Undertaker. So, yeah. All right, guys, now we're at the main event of the evening. The traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series match So for Team Raw, we got Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Triple H, Ric Flair, and Batista. And for Team SmackDown, we got JBL, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, and The Big Show. So again, you could see that there's going to be a bit of tension on both teams. Obviously, Benoit and Jericho, they've had issues with Evolution. And also, Batista and Triple H, they're starting to get, confrontational because Batista will be messing up and Triple H will call him dumb and all that. So, they're slowly building towards, Triple H and Hunter. And then on the SmackDown side, Kurt Angle, obviously, he has history with, both Big Show and Eddie Guerrero. He shaved Big Show and also he kind of screwed Eddie Guerrero. Then now we got Eddie Guerrero and JBL, looking at their rivalry. Obviously, they had, a bloody match at Judgment Day, the bull rope match at Great American Bash, and that pretty iconic steel cage match. And then you could also have where JBL's kind of trying to get Booker to join his cabinet. And then Booker's like, I ain't no houseboy. He remember, because they actually did fight JBL and Booker T at this show in real life. So, there's some tension there. And, yeah, it'll be a really good match. A lot of great workers in this match. And actually have Eddie Guerrero be the last person standing on SmackDown. And he's going on against, Benoit, Triple H, and Batista. So you could actually have Triple H accidentally hit Batista with the sledgehammer while the ref is down, and that's how Eddie's able to eliminate Batista. And then I'd have Eddie accidentally reverse the crossface into like a roll up, so he eliminates Benoit. And also be pretty cool because remember their moment at WrestleMania 20, and then now they actually get to go at it, which is pretty cool. And then it looks like Eddie's about to get the win on Triple H. Eddie's about to go for the frog splash. Randy comes out of nowhere, catches Eddie in an RKO while the ref is down, and Raw gets the win. And yeah, that would probably be one of the earliest iconic RKO. Imagine Eddie going for a frog splash and Randy catching him. And obviously Randy's reason is, he's still loyal to Evolution. Even though Triple H, he kind of wants Randy out of Evolution. You can see like the way they're treating him. But Randy says, he's still got Evolution's back. And eventually Randy will realize that, Evolution, they want to stab him in the back, and I think it will actually have a better face run, because when Randy, he got turned on by Evolution, Randy was still a heel. He was still, hated. But if, and Triple H kind of forced his hand, but I feel like if Randy said, what, I'm out of here, it shows, Randy's character growth and realizing that he doesn't need Evolution. So, yeah, you could continue to play up that storyline. And so Raw gets the win 4-3. And let me know what you guys think of the card. All right, guys, before I go, let me run down the card that I had. So we got the Cruiserweight Championship match. SmackDown, Spike Dudley defending against Raw's The Hurricane. We got the Women's Championship match. Raw's Trish Stratus defending against SmackDown's Torrie Wilson. Then we got the Tag Team Division Survivor Series tag match. We got Eugene, William Regal, Tajiri, Rhyno, and La Resistance versus Rene, Dupree, Kenzo, Suzuki, the Dudley Boyz, Paul London, and Billy Kidman representing SmackDown. Then we got a battle of the mid-card champions, the Intercontinental Champion representing Raw, Shelton Benjamin, versus the United States Champion representing SmackDown, John Cena. Then we got the battle of the Tag Team Champions. We got the World Tag Team Champions from Raw, Edge and Christian, versus the WWE Tag Team Champions from SmackDown, Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam. And we got the battle of the World Champions representing Raw, the World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton, versus the WWE Champion from SmackDown, The Undertaker. And in the main event, we got the traditional 5-on-5 classic Survivor Series match. Team Raw, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Triple H, Batista, and Ric Flair versus Team SmackDown, JBL, Kurt Angle, Booker T, The Big Show, and Eddie Guerrero. So yeah, guys, once again, appreciate all the support. Thanks for listening, and I'm out. Peace.